Hey everybody, happy Sunday. So, since we're all bored and I was getting ready to make dinner anyway, I thought I would share with you how I make my lamb bolognese. Now, this lamb sauce is more of a traditional southern Italian meat sauce. I always use lamb. You could, of course, follow this recipe and use ground beef, but I do recommend lamb because it does make such a rich, thick, delicious sauce. Okay, so we're starting off with some olive oil in the pan and a pound of ground lamb. That's unfortunately about the only exact measurement that you're gonna get in this whole recipe. Kind of just add things as we go along. There's that meme that says Italians don't use measurements. We just add things to our recipes until our ancestors whisper in our ears to stop. These are the ones that tell me when to stop. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to brown our ground lamb in the olive oil, seasoned with just a little salt and pepper. As we go along in the sauce, we season every layer. This is layer number 1. Okay, so now that I've got my lamb cooked, I'm going to start throwing in my vegetables. Now first I'm going to throw in my carrots and my onions, since those take the longest. And I'm going to go ahead, start letting those wilt. I'm going to add some salt to help those onions along. And we're going to let those onions go until they're nice and soft. Okay, so now next what we're going to add, of course, is our garlic. I put about 4 cloves in there. Depends on how garlicky you want it. You can never be wrong. Mix that up. And now I'm going to add mushrooms, all chopped up, baby portobellos. So now in here we have our lamb, onions, carrots, garlic, and mushrooms. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to season it. I add herbs to my sauce. I like to this is oregano. I'm going to be adding oregano. I like to take them and put them in my hand and rub them. Let's see if I can get this. Rub them between your hands as it goes into the pot. This releases all of that oregano oil, and you'll start to smell it immediately. So add that oregano in. I have no idea how much that was. Maybe about a tablespoon. But you can smell it. If it smells good, it's right. One thing that I always add to my sauce, this is traditional in my family and in a lot of Southern Italian cuisine, is a pinch of cinnamon. And when I mean a pinch, I mean like really a pinch, because you don't want it to taste like apple pie. So it's like a teeny tiny pinch of cinnamon. Almost you don't even know it's in there. In fact, you don't even have to put it in. Once all your veggies are fried up and look good, then of course it's time to add a little vino. I'm adding some Nero d'Avola, but whatever you have around the house is good. We're going to add some. Stir that up. Let it marry with the lamb and the vegetables. Looks good, smells even better. Now we're gonna let that simmer maybe about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and add our tomatoes. Okay, so now that our sauce has been simmering, we're gonna go ahead and add our tomatoes. I get a can of whole peeled plum tomatoes and then just kind of blend them up. And go ahead and pour those in there. Okay. So now, if you can see, our sauce, we've got a nice sauce going. But what we want to do is, if you can see, it's a little thin around here, and that's perfectly normal. But what we're going to do, we're going to add some seasoned breadcrumbs. Just add a little breadcrumb in there. Maybe about 1/4 of a cup. Stir that in. And what those breadcrumbs are going to do is they're going to soak up some of that juice from the tomatoes. And they're going to help create a really nice, thick, velvety sauce. That's one of my secrets for a really good sauce, is adding breadcrumbs. I use the seasoned ones just because they already have cheese and stuff like that in them, but you can use plain too. Breadcrumbs in general just make sauce really nice and velvety. We might even add a little more in after this has sat for a while. So now we're going to let this sit and simmer for probably about 30-45 minutes. We'll come back and check. Also, if you have any rinds left over from pecorino or parmesan, go ahead and stick it in there. I like pecorino best with lamb. It goes best with lamb, and just go ahead and stir that up in there, and that's really going to help flavor the sauce. Okay, so the sauce has been simmering for about an hour. And as you can see, it's really thickened up and looks really nice. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add some butter. Butter makes it really creamy and delicious. Just go ahead and add that butter in and stir it in. It's a great way to finish off the sauce, to make it really silky and smooth and creamy. So we'll just let that butter melt in there while we cook our pasta. In choosing your pasta for this sauce, it's best to pick one that's more like a rigatoni. I'm using this is trafilata. You can see it's a really big noodle. It's kind of like a rigatoni. It's got a big hole in it. This will be really good to catch all of that meat up in there in the sauce. It's bronze cut, so it's really rough around the edges, which will be really good in picking up that sauce and having it stick to it. It's so important to pick the right pasta for the right sauce so that you don't end up with a bowl full of sauce in the bottom. So this will be really good at picking that up. it's pasta time. Got our water boiling. So now we're gonna add some salt to the water so we can flavor our pasta. Nice amount of sauce. You want your water nice and salty. Now we'll put our pasta in. Okay, now that our pasta is pretty much done, we left it very al dente so we can finish cooking it in the sauce. Please, I beg of you, put your pasta in the sauce and cook it for a few minutes. It makes a huge difference. Nothing breaks my heart more than plain pasta with a scoop of tomato sauce on top of it. Pasta that's never had the chance to sit and soak up that sauce. It's the difference between an okay plate of pasta and an amazing plate of pasta. Always toss your pasta in the sauce, in the pan on the stove, and let them heat together. That way it'll really season the pasta and make it delicious. While we're tossing it, we're gonna add a little cheese in there just to help that sauce stick. And then we're going to be ready to plate it. So now we've plated our pasta. Now we're going to finish it with a drizzle of some really good olive oil. Drizzle that on top. Some fresh pecorino romano. And there you go. Beautiful, beautiful lamb bolognese.